People always ask how I balance my family life with 400 shows a year. I'm just doing what I love with the people I love. It's my magic life.
I like Wes Iseli. I like everything about him.
All right, guys, we are back. And this week we have an amazing, multi-talented entertainer. Everybody, it's Scot Nery. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Man, I'm great. I'm grateful to be on here, and this is the first time we've started talking.
So we had some technical issues. We introduced him 4 times now, and it's been crazy. And now yeah. So let's get into it, man. So how'd you get started? You got started in all these different entertainment things you do. It all got started with magic?
Yeah, the first professional shows I did were magic shows at age 11, and um, I like I was really into magic tricks, so I showed a magic trick to a neighbor. He said, "Go show it to this other guy," and I showed it to the other neighbor, and that guy said, "Come into my basement." And I went into his basement, and all over the walls, kind of like how your place is, it was just shelves and shelves of magic tricks. And he had gone to the Chavez school, and I was in like a small town in Ohio, and he had gone to the Chavez school and trained, and he taught me how to do magic shows. And it was really, so that was my first mentor.
Wow. Would I know his name? Would I know who it is?
His name is Herb Nyland, and he's, I don't know, he
Yeah.
was um Neil, I forget, he was like a zombie
Buster?
ball master.
Neil Buster?
Yeah, Neil Foster was his main mentor and idol.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That you just stumbled into something that cool.
Yeah, and it was all the like tuxedo kind of style of magic. It was just so smooth, and he was personable, but it was just all about performing the magic to music and stuff like that. And then I started seeing all the people on TV that were like Matt King and Penn and Teller and stuff, and they were sloppier and wilder. And when I was like 15, and I did my first comedy magic show, like just saying like I'm just gonna do the things that I think are funny, and that was like when it hit. That was when I was like, oh, this is what performing is. So then
Wow.
after school and stuff, I did some odd jobs, and then um, I met Frank Olivier. He's a juggler and magician, really amazing. He kind of invented the whole act where you hold on to people's heads and you climb up on a tall unicycle. He's that guy, and so he said, um, "Go do it," and I went on the street and traveled all over the world performing on the street, doing juggling and comedy and fire eating and my weird pancake flipping act, and that's how I got started.
Wow. So you were a busker for how long?
I did it for like 4.5 years on and off.
It- it-
After my first year, I got booked on the Brooks and Dunn. It was like their biggest country music tour that had ever happened in the world, and I got booked to like be part of their kind of circus show, and I got to go in like amphitheaters and arenas and perform for those monster crowds, and then I still wanted to learn stuff, so I went back to the street and kept on doing shows until until my life was threatened a bunch of times, and then
well,
I went more
you're
into
on the
books.
street. That happens. That happens.
Yeah.
How do you go from busking on the street to opening a Brooks and Dunn show? How does that happen? Did you have an agent that got you the gig, or did you get it? Did you go out?
Try to make it succinct. You know, life stories are 40, my life story is 46 years long. So the after high school, moved to Nashville to meet a Christian girl because I was like fundamentalist Christian and I thought there would be a lot of Christians there. So moved there, met some jugglers, including Frank Olivier. One of the jugglers was still living in Nashville, and Brooks and Dunn came up. He did like some juggling at a back like a opening thing for Country Music Awards, and so Brooks and Dunn came up to him and said, "Hey, we want to make like Cirque du Soleil for rednecks." Or and so who do we get? And that guy just like had no idea. He knew me, he knew a few other people, and just started hooking it up, and we were good enough, and we went on tour. It was like not I was not qualified.
Wow.
Did you do juggling for that, or did you do more than just that?
Yeah.
Just juggling.
I juggled, I did some acrobatic stuff. I did yeah, so when I got that gig, I was in San Francisco doing street shows, and then I started training at the circus school there. So I learned some acrobatics and stuff, and with Brooks and Dunn, I did fire juggling and comedy and um, acrobatics. And so like five of us would go out on stage. There would be a fire lasso guy and a bunch of different crazy stuff happening, and everybody be like, "Boo! Bring on Brooks and Dunn!" And then we'd do our thing and take off.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I hear comedians that open for like rock stars. They're like, yeah, they don't want me. They want the rock star. But how awesome is that? Is there video of you like
Yeah.
on a good night, not getting booed, but on a good night,
No,
like you guys rocking and rolling?
nothing.
Oh
Wow.
man.
And it was 2001, 2002. Like the video technology like wasn't so distributed. I didn't think to like get that captured or whatever. And the audiences were rocking. They were great. It was just like the thing that stood out was I'm at street shows, I have a circle of people around me. Anybody that heckles, I can talk to them and everybody in the audience can look. With 10,000, 20,000 people, you can hear the front row, but it doesn't matter. You're not going to respond to them, and nobody else behind them can hear them. So you just eat it. You just take it. Um,
And you just keep pushing through, man. Golly.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome though. Do you still know Brooks and Dunn? Would they know you if they ran into you on the street?
Yeah, yeah. I toured with them for 2 summers, and they were super sweet. And like one day I said to Kix like, I heard you're going on the Tonight Show in a few weeks. Could I go with you and just hang out backstage? And he was like, let me see if I can make it work. And so like a few days later, they they were like, yeah, we can't make it work. And then after the show, he brought me a t-shirt signed by Jay Leno. And yeah, he was super cool. And Kix was like super involved in every aspect of the Kix Brooks was really involved in every aspect of the thing. So he came out with a fake beard on, and came out and watched what we were doing. We were doing shows around the concession areas too before the show started. So he would come out in disguise, and nobody recognized him somehow. And he would walk around and watch the shows, and it was super cool. Like it was the big lesson was that these people at the top are generally pretty rad. And then it was kind of a Lollapalooza of country music. So they had people at different levels. Keith Urban was there when he was just starting out, or just starting to get big. So all these different people, Keith was cool, but there were a bunch of people that were in the middle. They were just like jerks. They were like really into their own game. They were hustling and stuff like that. But then the people at the top were like super sweet. And I don't know if it's caused by being successful or it was the cause of their success, but it taught me a lot about like how a successful person actually acts. There's like that like Hollywood archetype of like jerk celebrities or whatever, but that's my experience has been they're great people. The successful people are really sweet and generous and amazingly accessible.
But we see that online. You see people that talk bad about other entertainers, and it's like, where's your show reel? You have a real job. What are you talking? Who are you to condemn these guys? So I think it's the clawing. And when you get to where you feel successful, it might not be Copperfield level, but where you feel successful, now you want to help other people out. And let's do it. There's enough work to go around. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how they feel. I mean, they're selling out arenas. They're like,
Yeah.
why be rude to people? I mean, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt in the long run.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever we go into a venue, I tell them I want to be remembered as being the easiest performer they've ever dealt with. I don't need anything from you. I take care of everything. And I want you to remember, oh yeah, that's the guy. Because you hear stories about, oh, you're a magician. Do you know this guy? You know, he showed up, he didn't have a microphone. He left props in the thing. He had to go in the middle of the show and go to his truck and get stuff. And it's like, that's not what I want people to remember
Right.
us by.
Yeah.
No, not at all, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's beautiful.
so when you're going through, you have this and you go back to doing street performing, there's another 10-year gap there. Have you always just been full-time entertainment, or did you have real jobs somewhere in there?
I had like a real bummer period where I went from, so I was doing that stuff, then I started producing a cooking show in a theater. It was every week I cooked a different theme, like gingerbread crack house or spring break at the Vatican. And then I would so I'd have an audience come in and I'd cook food on stage, um and it was like a comedy, crazy comedy show. And I had my own theme song and I had my picture on a billboard. And I was then after the show, I would taxi across San Francisco and headline a burlesque show. I was like the finishing act of a burlesque show. And I was just like, I was like, okay, I've maxed out San Francisco. I'm gonna go to LA. And I came to LA. I'd always been an underdog. I'd always been like struggling, like felt like I was like pushing and seeing people above me and stuff. And then I came to LA, thought it would be like a huge new challenge, and I didn't feel it. Like it might sound cocky, but I didn't feel like I was like in 2 days I was in a show with Bill Maher, and I then like a few weeks later I was like in a one-man show competition. The competition was judged by the audience, and I had nobody in the audience. All the performers' friends were in the audiences. I tied for first in that competition, and so then I was just like kind of bummed. I thought like I'd gone as far as I needed to. I went, um, or I thought I'd gone like to the top because I thought that that was what it was all about. I thought it was like about just trying to be as good as other people. And then, so I took a job at a marketing company. I was working on, I wasn't totally giving up on performing. I was thinking about making I was working on a show about propaganda. And so I kind of like um, snuck into a marketing company and worked there making websites and doing all kinds of different stuff. Then I got invited to a street performer festival in New Zealand. It was the biggest street performer festival in the world. And I was like bummed out. So I was like, she was like, do you want to come? I don't usually just invite people, but do you want to come and do this thing? And I was like, yeah, what do I have to do? She was like, well, I'll send you a contract, you sign it, and then I'll send you a plane ticket. I was like, okay. I was such a jerk.
Wow. Wow.
And then it happened. I went there and I was just like totally blown away. They treated street performers like top artists, like awesome. I like everybody in the world, everybody in the community. I got like free meals and people were just flipping out. Then all the performers were killer and stuff that I'd never seen before. And I was like, oh, okay. Not only is the bar higher than I thought, but I could be that person. I could raise the bar for other people. I could be better. If I'm better than everybody, then that's great because I want everybody else to rise up too. And it just, I quit my job through a long distance phone call from New Zealand and came back and started back into the game.
Wow. So you're floor walling all these theaters and venues and everything.
Kind of for free. Yeah.
Wow.
The cooking show was, I think the first 6 months was free because I was working on marketing for the theater for them.
Okay.
And then because what happened was the guy had do you know Paul Nathan? He's
No.
a magician.
No.
He's great, and he was running this theater. He's like, hey, if you want to, I was doing a pancake flipping juggling act, and he was like, hey, you really work hard at promoting stuff. If you want to help promote my theater, you could do your cooking show there. And I was like, yeah, my cooking show. Okay. And so I just showed up and started doing it on Tuesdays. Then it was successful, so came back and did it on weekends, did Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the same theater. And I think I was paying a little bit of rent to do that. And then
Wow.
with Boobietrap, it was in a building that was being torn down, so we got it for free. Moved to another place. We just made sure that they made enough money at the bar. Then we got invited to a place in Hollywood, and we did the same thing. We just made sure they made $1,500 at the bar, and we got it rent free.
Well,
That's awesome.
Natalie was saying that, it just sounded like a nightmare to her logistically to have to get 6 entertainers every week. And I
Yeah.
said, well, you're probably getting Anastasia 3 weeks out of the month or something. So you're not getting all new acts every single show, are you?
It was 15 acts per show.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so what it started out as an open mic. We did it. I was just like texting everybody and telling people to come. And then it was on the second or third week, there were 27 acts that showed up for the open mic. And it was like, so the show was like 2.5 hours long or something. And then I was like, okay, I got to book it. And I started booking it with a spreadsheet, text messages. Then I built an app to organize all the things. So when I booked somebody, I would just add their name to the list. They'd be added to the lineup. They'd get an email with all the information. They'd be in the system. Like I'd be able to. It was a pretty complicated app eventually that ran everything, so I could automate all of that stuff.
Now, somebody getting sick, somebody getting a better paying gig, people dropping out. Was that a problem? Was that an issue at all?
That was great because of the 15 people. So I could jump in and I could do an extra act, or the show could be 4 minutes shorter, and that would be fine. That was one of the benefits that I could offer all the performers. So they got like free video and photo of their act. They would get easy cancel, which is no show and there's no strings. They could just not show up, and I wouldn't hold it against them. And so it was all geared toward having the best performers. And like there's shows where they pay $13 for you to perform, and I think that's not really geared toward a badass like Amazing Jonathan or something. So I wanted it to be really set up to be great, and I tried to, like, if somebody needed anonymity or whatever, I didn't promote the lineups. So I didn't like say Tom. I did with Tom Arnold, but because he was the host, but otherwise other celebrities, I didn't tell people in advance that they were showing up. I just wanted to make the audience flip out when they came on stage.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right,
Have fun.
so I love name dropping. So we got Tom Arnold, we got Amazing Jonathan, Anastasia. Who else comes to mind of
Matt
your
King.
Wow.
Penn Jillette almost did it. His flight was late.
Aw.
We had Reggie Watts, who is he's amazing. He was on Corden. He was the band leader on Corden and stuff. We had Kate Flannery from The Office. A bunch of different people. There were tons of celebrities that showed up at the show, like the dude that
I'm
played
putting you on the spot. Sorry.
what?
I'm putting you on the
The
spot.
dude the dude that played the Terminator 2. He I have this thing where I throw snacks out to the audience, all these like snack packs of chips, and I was throwing them out, and then there was one, I was like, anybody not get him? And there was one hand raised in the back, and I threw it as hard as I could. It went straight into his hand like this, and he was just locked in, and everybody looked back, and it's the Terminator 2.
The guy that morphed in Terminator 2. Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I was going to tell you my Arnold thing. You said the guy came back with his Jay Leno autograph. I was so into
Yeah.
Arnold. We went to New York, and I told Mom I went somewhere, and she went to Planet Hollywood for dinner, and she said, "Oh, you missed it. Arnold was there, and he signed a napkin." It was my mom's handwriting, so that's what I was thinking with it. Was it really Jay Leno's? That killed me. I love Arnold so
Maybe.
much. He was really jealous.
Maybe.
That's funny.
All right, so
I-
what happened to Boobietrap? It
when
seems
you,
so
I have a
awesome.
question for you.
Okay, go for it.
You try to be so easy, and does it ever, that makes you kind of invisible sometimes? Aren't you
Me,
scared of like,
how?
because they're having all the other issues with their event, and you show up and nothing, like all they see is the laughter. So they think like, I don't know, I'm sure like your favorite customers they really understand how much work you put in. But are you ever afraid that you're like, by just being so seamless, by being so smooth, that,
No, I mean the last theater we did. I mean they kept asking, "Can I help? Can I do this? Can I do that?" Natalie had just fallen down the steps, so she broke her foot. She has maybe a broken shin. We don't know because she won't get X-rays. Last time she was in the hospital, it was a 45-day stay, and it was supposed to be in and out
wow.
surgery. So she's paranoid, and so we couldn't do illusions, and I was freaking out because any illusion you get in, you got to be on your knees. You got to do this. You got to. We couldn't do, and I'm like, all right, well they're paying us our going rate. This is a big show, hour and a half illusion show, 15-minute intermission. Couldn't do any illusions, so I'm just doing everything I can. Tell them, don't worry about me. Can I help you? Nope. You need anything? Can we pick you up anything for dinner? No, we got it. We're good. Well, it's included. We are set. We have the RV pulling the trailer. All of our snacks, all of our food is in there. We're good. We don't need anything. I want you to remember me as the guy that was easy. End of the night, standing ovation. The next day, they booked us for next year. So, and I didn't even do the illusions that I promised them, but it was an awesome show. Did that answer your question, though?
Yeah. I'm
I don't know.
asking because I think a lot of people show up and they want the client to know how hard it is. They want, like, you know what I mean? They like show up and they're like, oh yeah, parking was crazy. So sorry that I'm like, I'm just barely on time, whatever. And yeah, so I think that's important for performers to hear, that
I
your
think I
approach
think
to that.
I think they can see how hard you're working without you playing it up. So they saw lugging in the equipment. They saw all the setting up because they're there. They have to do their setups and they have to, I mean, they're there. And so they saw everything that we were doing and everything that we were pulling together. They saw the show and then they saw all the taken down and taken out. So I think they see how hard you work without
Yeah.
having to make a big deal out of it. Just
And
do it.
the audience interaction. I mean, at the end,
Right.
they want to come up and take pictures.
Yeah.
Also, I was trying to get out as fast as I can because they want to go home. Show's over. They've already made their money. And then I'm talking to them as I'm packing up, and they're like, "Yeah, there was a band the other night, and they thought they were doing good because somebody tipped them like an extra $100 to play for another hour. But that means we have to stay. We've already made our money. We don't
Oh,
get
geez.
Yeah.
right. They just don't think, and it's like, yeah, you got to think about everybody in that theater.
Right.
I am fine to load all my equipment outside the back door, and then they can lock the building, and I'll load my equipment into the trailer from there so they can go home. I've done that countless times just to try to get out as fast as I can. Because we can milk it. Of course we can milk it. We can make it look longer. But no, I don't want to do that to them. I do get super early, though. I get there super early because you never know what the venue's going to have. This place had a small stage last time we were there. So I was trying to, in my head, trying to put all these illusions on this small stage. Like, it's kind of like a black box. But they had added an additional 12 feet to the stage.
Oh, yeah, they really expanded
They
it.
added front curtains. They had added a lot. So it got there and it was like cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get to that place of like wanting to serve the clients so much instead of just wanting to be a magician?
going back in my history, when I was first apprenticing under another magician, he was a jerk to everybody. And I learned so much because it's like, that's what not to do. This is, you don't know who he is. If I said his name, you wouldn't know. I'm not going to say his name, but you wouldn't know who he is. He's not Copperfield, but he wanted everybody to think he was. And that's how they were trying. No, you do that on stage. That's your time to shine, not being a prima donna at the event, needing stuff and demanding this and demanding that. Don't you know who I am? No, I don't do that. Yeah. Because I'm not,
Amazing.
and even if I was, I wouldn't want that, you know? Yeah. I see how Penn and Teller interact with their stage managers and the customers and everybody, and they're totally respectful, and that's the way you do it, man. That's the people you want to look up to and idolize. Because you know magic, they're good guys and they're people you stay away from. And I want to be a good guy. I want everybody to say, I like Wes. Wes is awesome. Easy to work with. We want to have him again. Yeah, that's what I want people. Yeah.
I think you have a great reputation. You're obviously collaborative and generous, and you do a lot for the community. So,
well,
awesome.
Dude, I just want to keep it going. I'm living my childhood dream, man. When I was a little boy, I mean, to have magicians that I've loved and admired and watch on my television on a loop, to be on my podcast and be able to talk to them and hang out with them and be an equal, that's better than any paycheck. She likes the paycheck. The money goes to her. The money goes to her. She's like, that's what you gotta
you know, I doubt that so much. I think she's trying to keep you alive.
Yes.
I think you're a lot to keep up with, man.
Yeah.
Got that right.
It took us 4 times to get the podcast started. You know, I'm a lot to keep up.
Yes, if he had his way, he'd be doing magic shows for free and we'd be on the street. So yeah, I'm the one that has to be like, no, we got to charge him for this.
But being on stage is my favorite thing in the world, man. I'd rather do that than anything else. It's awesome. There's nothing like it. Yeah, I love it. So back to you. All right. So you were helping people putting their one-man acts together. You were helping people. Where did that come from? Am I all over the place here? I'm trying to go on a timeline, but I don't know your timeline. So Boobietrap, huge success. Did that stop with COVID, or did that stop for another reason?
Yeah, COVID was killing people, and we closed it down. I think maybe 2 weeks before lockdown happened, and we were so. Yeah, that was good. We closed it down, and I was doing some online classes, teaching some online classes to people. What happened was, earlier than that, like I always loved helping other people. Like that's what I loved about performing. I loved like showing them something better that they could do, like giving them a cool experience and helping them in that way, and like creating, like when I was a little kid, I built ramps when we'd go sled riding. And I wouldn't even ride the sled very much. I'd just watch my friends and see like, how can I make that ramp better so I could launch them so they could go almost break their arms. And and so I just love that. That's what I always did. What I made video games. I made I built ramps. I did all this different stuff. And then when I was performing, it was the same kind of thing. Like I just loved that, like creating a fun experience for other people. That's what was fun to me. And then when I got to, especially with Boobietrap, I started seeing people's behind the scenes. I started seeing how people's careers actually looked and what they were doing and how sustainable different people were. And I started discovering like some of my favorite performers were taking really low paying gigs, and some of them were not set up to be sustainable, and some of them were showing up exhausted for some of their gigs because they're over hustling and all this different stuff. While Boobietrap was going, we got proxy hosts like Tom Arnold and different people to do the show. My wife and I went to Australia and we did this touring show in Australia. The show wasn't paying us on time, and the stage stairs were some showcases stacked up, and my wife is in platform high heel shoes with champagne spilled on the stage, and there's a guy doing Chinese pole, which is like climbing a pole and doing acrobatics, super precise stuff that also champagne, humidity, all this different stuff that we're dealing with. And we said we're not getting paid. The other performers said, "Oh yeah, I haven't been paid for 3 months. It's okay. They're gonna take care of you. They always take care of you." And I was like, um, I totally understand these people justifying it. I've seen it. I've done it so much. I've justified this treatment for myself, and I can't I can't do it anymore. It isn't right. And like if we were plumbers, we wouldn't accept that. And um so when I came, we quit, left, flew ourselves back to LA, and the first thing I did was fix the stairs to the stage to booby trap. And I s- and I started like, and I was just burning, was like, we do not need to justify this stuff anymore. We need to like, let's step up and support each other, understand, be transparent with each other, share, like, it's kind of taboo to share contract details, but if there's no NDA, then share contract details with each other and help each other out. And it just made me, so then when COVID hit and I was teaching these online classes, I was like, I want to help people. So I started digging into people's business, like becoming an action partner with them, which is like a temporary business partner, working with them, figuring out what's going on with them, and then just starting to like negotiate 10 times higher rates with them, figure out, fix all their marketing, um, make them feel comfortable in sales calls, rework their show, rework their costume and the way they brand themselves, everything. Productivity, like dealing with depression. I cried a lot on Zooms with people. It was just like a really beautiful thing, like to be able to, because we don't have people that'll listen to us. So just being able to listen to people and give them hope became the most valuable thing.
And when you're helping people and they're crying, talking to you, that's a bonding experience that nothing is like it. Yeah.
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 I had
Wow.
um I had one guy that hired me, and he was used to very transactional business situations. And I'm like, to me, it's different to be collaborative than to be transactional, to be like relationship based instead of numbers based. So I'm sure you get it, like somebody calls you and says, "What's your price?" And you're like, "I don't even know what your job is. I don't know where you are." Um, so, so, um, so he was very used to a transactional thing, and he was feeling very guarded, and he hired me, but he was like, I'm not, the first call, he was like, "I'm not completely comfortable with how the contract works because it's kind of general, and it doesn't clearly define deliverables and stuff like that." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'm totally open to defining that stuff. And so we'll get to that whenever you're ready to." Um, and then I told him what I saw in him right from the beginning, like what I saw him from when we talked earlier and what I found out about him online and stuff. And in like 5 minutes, we were both crying. Like he's like, I feel like you really understand what I'm doing, and people misunderstand it so much. And um, he was just like a beautiful guy that had a big heart, and he was trying to help people use their hearts to connect with each other. And he was seen a lot as a motivational speaker, just like some guy shoving messages down people's throats instead of the person that he really believed he was deep down. So it was like those kind of things are amazing to me.
So with Boobietrap coming back, are you still going to be doing that, helping people out so people can hire you for this? I'm
Yeah.
successful and I want to hire you. I love it. I love the idea of having somebody else outside outside of us. We are the whole team. So it's like,
Yeah.
hey, I throw ideas at her and she either runs with it or doesn't. But the way our business works is I go fishing. My publicist sends out press releases and all that. And then we have some referral agents that also go fishing, right? Fishing for customers. They send us inquiries or emails. That all goes to Natalie, and then she closes the deal. So that's how we do it here in house. But yeah, I'm always open to new stuff. I mean, I have a degree in marketing. I love marketing. I love the business aspect of it, but I can't do it all. I can't be creative coming up with new stuff. You know, the resorts that I work want new magic every year. They want new stuff because people are timeshare. They're coming back. They don't want to see the same old show. So I can't be
Yeah.
creative, coming up with new stuff and booking all those shows and doing. So you have to kind of, what is the word? Delegate. You have to delegate a little bit. So yeah, but yeah, so you are still open to that. You're still helping people do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, Boobietrap's coming back. I don't know. It's like it's been a few days since I decided for Boobie. I just called it dead in 2020, and so the past few days I've been like, I guess my one friend who understands the business on both sides, who understands me, he said to do it again. So I was like, okay, I just got to do what he says. And so
But
that's Boobietrap. Then on the other things that I do are like I curate and cast. Like Germany's Next Top Model asked me for some clowns. I found them clowns, so I do that for a job. I do. I'm an action partner, and I make websites. The website business is the biggest thing that I'm doing. It's the way that I can help people the most. And I love the action partner thing. And you said you're successful. Well, that's like those are the only people that I work with. A lot of people think like, oh, you're like helping people that are getting started. No, I like to work with successful people because they have some traction and they can actually make a change.
well, you were talking about people getting low income jobs, and you see it promoted on Facebook and social media and Instagram and things. I'm working here. I'm working here. I'm working here, and then you go look into that place, that venue. You're lucky if you get $500. Now I have to
Yeah.
take an RV and a trailer and pull it to another state to do a $500 gig, or take an airplane to a 500. I'm missing 6 gigs here to do that weekend there for $500. It doesn't make sense. Or cruise ships.
Yeah.
I hear people do cruise ships, and some people are doing it just for a cruise. Some people aren't getting paid. They just get a free cruise out of it. And it's like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I thought you were full time. I thought you were professional. No, yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah,
This,
there's definitely I see a balance. Like with Booby Trap, it was free. Nobody got paid. They could cancel any time, so they're not blocking out their calendar. And most of them are local or they're popping in for a Magic Castle and then they come over and do Booby Trap or something. But I see it as a balance. Like there's some people that get $25,000 gigs by doing a spot at the Magic Castle and and um and then some people just want that lifestyle. Some people want to hustle all the time and do like thousands of shows and be tired at every one of them. And some people want to like do, and I think you guys do, like you do, you show up and you really do shows, even though you do so many, you you still are doing quality shows. Um, so it's like
well, I'm not burned
I
out
see
either.
all sides. Yeah,
I'm not burned out with magic. I'm still passionate about it. I'm still love it, and I'm still thankful. Yeah, so I think that's a difference. I think
yeah,
some people are doing the same act they've been doing for 20 years, and that might be what's burning them out. I think it's just a lack of creativity and a lack of love for it, maybe. But that's what
yeah.
they're known for now. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So the action partner, I think, is what Natalie was reading on the
Well,
bio.
he explained it though.
Yeah, and that's helping people go through everything and
Yeah.
figure it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really a lot of investigation and taking inventory of what's going on and then being an outside eye and somebody with a lot of experience in different realms because I did casting, I did performing, I did producing, I did um, sitting around and being depressed. I've done all those different things. So I have like it's not that I'm a consultant exactly or like super knowledgeable about something, but I do know, uh, I have a perspective that's helpful to a lot of people. So some people are like, they're at a very high level and they just want to understand what their mission in life is. And I work with them for 8 weeks and we figure it out. Some people are have a $400 gig in front of them and they need to change it into a $1,500 gig. And so it's the real thing is like the thing that I've learned a lot in the past 5 years has been about the uniqueness of everybody, especially because we're freelancers. Everybody has their own thing. And I've tried to offer products to people that are kind of general. And really, what we all need is a unique approach to what we're doing. We need somebody who really listens to what we need and then makes it happen because like with a website, I'm just babbling. Am I talking too much?
No, you're good.
You're doing great. I'm
Yeah,
loving it.
no,
I'm
that's
loving
good.
it.
With a website, for example, people think that um, they need a platform to develop the website on. They need some good pictures. They need some stuff. But then if those are the things that they needed, that's like a few days of work. And there are people that have not had they're amazing performers that have not had a website for 6 years. So the real truth is like I have to talk to them and figure out what's going on and say like, oh, okay, you hate this stuff. You hate getting your photos together. So let's not get your photos together. I'm going to find everything you have on Instagram and on Facebook. I'm going to retouch and remake those photos with AI and whatever else I can do and make it look real and make it look good. You're not going to collect your photos. Okay, what else do you hate? What else is holding you back? And that's like the real stuff. Everybody has their unique thing, their unique things that are holding them back. And for me to offer a one size fits all product, I just couldn't do it. And that's one of the things that I've learned. Like, and then as a result of that, also people beat themselves up because they're like, why why can't I get my website together? This guy over here, Jason Jackson, is doing all these shows and he's so good at selling himself and he sucks at on stage. Why can't I beat myself into submission and finally get my business together? You just can't because you're a complicated human being. Who cares? You're doing great.
Everybody looks at everybody else.
Yeah.
You just need to, you know, we have a thing where we just try to beat in the office what we did last year, this week, last year.
Yeah.
Some weeks
Yeah.
we do, some weeks we don't, but overall it's always going up because that's our
Nice.
goal. Yeah.
Nice.
So, because who are you gonna? I can't compete with Matt King. I can't compete with all these other people. I compete with myself. I'm the one that's holding me back from more gigs because there's plenty of work out there. Are people that said, "Oh, I didn't know you did magic. I didn't know there was a magician nearby."
Yeah.
Corporation coming to town, renting the convention hall. I didn't know there was a local magician we could have hired. That's my fault.
Yeah.
So I'm beating
Yeah.
myself up with that. Um, I have no idea about depression. Why were you depressed? Why were you in a lull so badly? You mentioned it, but I don't know if
Chemicals.
you
I
think it
think
was.
it's chemicals. It's
Yeah,
just like the hormones in my body that I'm born with. I have a lot of anxiety. I have a lot of anxiety, and I was diagnosed with type 2 bipolar disorder, which is mostly depression. And it's very different from the normal bipolar, but yeah, it's mostly depression. A lot of the stuff that I've done to deal with it is like trying organizing my life. The anxiety causes, I don't know if I'm ADD. I've been diagnosed ADD, but mostly it's as long as my anxiety is lower, then my ability to focus is stronger. So I've done a lot of stuff to work on that stuff, and the anxiety is linked to depression. So mostly my advice to somebody is to start with anxiety. See how much anxiety you can reduce before getting to it. Um, Depression for me manifests as nothing matters that much. The When the game of life disappears, and I am um, just like kind of don't care about stuff. That's what it's like. It's not about a deep sadness usually. Just everything's gray.
Mm. Oh,
Yeah, I'll have a day every couple months, but
yeah.
that's it. I'm usually going, 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 going. I love it, and it's on a day off. It's
Yeah.
always on a day
It's
off.
always on a day off.
Yeah. So what is a catalyst for you? What do you? Is there something that puts you that way?
Or it's just
Or
Well,
chemicals? I don't
the
know.
things
I
that
don't know. I might be asking dumb questions. I'm sorry. I don't understand it. So
basic human needs have been really helpful. My sleep is my sleep is disrupted, so I usually sleep like 5 hours and then I wake up wide awake and my brain is going and I'm like thinking of ideas and stuff. I'm like writing jokes and then I need to like chill down and go back to sleep in order to get enough sleep for the night. So for a long time I didn't really deal with that. I would just wake up and be like, okay, here I am. It seems like I'm fine for the next 3 hours, then then I crash and I just like don't have a memory and stuff. So sleep was just learning how to sleep better, exercise every day. My diet is kind of intense right now. I'm doing meal replacement shakes, which I've like modified to be supplemented the right way. And so I don't have any glycemic spikes in my day. I have a really balanced diet, and that's been really helpful for my anxiety. So exercise, sleep, and food, like
what are you
what
doing for
every doctor
exercise?
would say.
What are you doing for
I'm
exercise?
doing I'm doing treadmill right now. I do
Okay.
30 minutes while I'm listening to audiobooks about sales or something, like pretty intense. Then I'm doing with now that I'm doing booby trap again, I'm doing burpees and push-ups and dumbbell rows. I'm gonna get some more weights and just I want to be bulletproof because I jump around a lot on stage.
Well, with your contortion stuff, how much stretching do you do?
That's not a necessary thing for me. I just kind of can do it anytime. I just
Well,
warm up before I do it and then I'm good. It's
that's
pretty weird.
awesome. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So
Natural ability.
so Natalie, we have 4-year-old twins. She gave birth to the twins. She couldn't get rid of the baby weight.
Right.
So she found a diet program that she loved. And then part of it is, hey, you can sell it to other people because you're a client. Yeah. So she's a coach. And then Ozempic
Cool.
came out and everybody just wants a quick, easy fix. And she's like, honey, I
Yeah.
got to figure out something. So we were doing a show. We were pulling into the guard gate at a show. And on a whim, this is at Christmas time. And I said, well, why don't you just go back to college and get a degree in nutrition? She called the college and booked it before I got from the guard gate to the client to set up the show. So she's going back to college to be a nutritionist. So that's why we have all these
Wow.
nutrition questions, workout questions, because this is our life. We think about this 24/7. So yeah.
Yeah. I can tell you what I'm doing. So I got all my blood panels done. I had I had high cholesterol, high blood sugar, and I I worked on that, and it was just like a lot of willpower. And I didn't really want to spend my time on willpower and like planning my calories and stuff like that. So I so I had this friend that was always doing Soylent drinks, the Soylent shakes, and he has been healthy for not like super healthy, but he's been like alive for years with it. So I was like, okay, that kind of works. And I got all my blood panels done. I I got on the shakes and I got more blood panels done. And then I asked for more. I asked for additional markers, and the doctor said, we can give you these ones with your insurance. So I got all those, and then I went to ChatGPT and started like going through like all the markers and what they mean, and trying to understand what supplements I might need with my age and my weight and my height, and with my exercise regimen and stuff. And so I started adding different stuff. It's like I'm using Huel Essential, which is it's a shake. It's a meal replacement shake that has a bunch of macros. It has a good macro balance and a micro balance. And then then I'm adding choline, creatine, calcium, potassium. I do fish oil and vitamin B12 and magnesium every day. And
Wow.
so
What do you think?
if I
You're still in
it's
college.
pretty,
Yeah.
it's a lot to know right off the top of your head, if
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
But my markers are all like super awesome. I'm in the green for
Good.
everything right now.
Good.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's great. That's great. And you feel good.
I feel so much better. Like people are like, doesn't it take all the joy out of life? And I'm like, for me to be able to show up for my family every single day with the same mental sharpness and the same ability to like regulate my emotions and be kind and be supportive, that is way more fun than eating some cake.
Yeah. Yeah. And the crash after, I really feel it now. You know, Easter
Yeah.
came around and I bought a ton of junk food and I was eating the Easter basket and tried to eat it all because I didn't want it lingering. Oh, that's an awful feeling. Yeah. Now that we're clean, it's not good. Not good.
Yeah.
All right.
And I see it in Arlo. Arlo's 5. My son is 5. And he, I didn't think, I thought like kids are resilient. They can eat all kinds of crap. I was eating hot dogs and ramen every day. Like I was eating all kinds of stuff when I was a kid. And I see it in him. Like I see immediately, it might be anecdotal, but I feel like I see the reaction to him eating just whole foods or eating, going to Chuck E. Cheese. I
Yeah.
see the difference.
Yeah. I mean, we have 4-year-old twins, man. When they want candy, it's like a little drug addict. He wants candy. He wants candy, and there's no stopping. There's no talking him out of it. Yeah. And then the crash afterwards, and then yeah, we see it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we have 10 more minutes left.
Okay.
People need to find you, Boobietrap, all of this stuff. Is there a website for Boobietrap?
Yeah, boobiela.com is Boobietrap's website, and you can sign up for the email list there so far. We don't have tickets for sale yet. And you can search for me, Scot Nery, and it's SCOTNERY. You might want to write that down, Wes.
I got it.
So that you
Got it
have
right here.
it.
I got it.
Okay.
Golly.
Deserve that one.
Well, Nary,
And
Neary,
And called Nearly.
I was nervous. I was nervous starting out here today. I'm excited to have you on.
you're
So,
amazing, man.
dude, we had to start 4 times. I kept messing up. Anyway,
Amazing in a good way or amazingly bad? I'm kidding.
we have 10
You
minutes.
just have like, you have a beautiful heart and you're sharing it, and you don't have time to do everything right.
I'm trying. Thank you.
No, don't do everything right. Do the right stuff right. You're killing it, man.
So
Aw, that's
tell
sweet.
everybody, to introduce you for the 4th time and the 3rd time and the 2nd time, I said you do it all, but list out the things you do. We talked about contortion, magic, juggling, fire eating. What else?
Yeah.
Because there's a list.
I've done well in stand-up comedy competitions. I've produced my own shows. I stilt walking, unicycling, balloon animals, slapstick. I created a slapstick convention. I've done stunts in movies, acting in movies, balancing things on my face, done face painting. Yeah, invented
That's a
magic
lot.
tricks.
That's a lot.
All right, so
Yeah.
I want to know about movies. What movies have you been in?
I was in Scary Movie 5. That was my biggest one.
Whoa!
I was the villain in that movie, and I was also Snoop Dogg's stunt double.
How does that work? Scary
what?
movie. Scary movie is the comedy.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I was trying to
I
figure
gotcha.
that out. How does
Yeah.
that work? So you were doing stunts in that as the stunt double. I get it.
That's hilarious.
Dude.
I was also the villain in it. I was Mama. There was a movie called Mama, a horror movie, and then I was the Mama in the Scary Movie parody. So I was like throughout the movie, I come in and I'm a weird ghost lady. And then when um Snoop was in this scene where he got hit in the head with a beam from the ceiling, and it was styrofoam, but it still, he didn't like it. It didn't feel good. So he was like, no, man, I got to use my head tomorrow. And so, the next time they asked him to do something, which was get kicked in the crotch, there was like every safety precaution was there, but he was like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, okay, here I am, because Snoop's got to use his crotch tomorrow.
But that
So
was
I'm like in this like,
waist down anyway.
I'm what's that?
That was probably filmed from the waist down anyway, right?
Right, right. And I was the same height as him, so I fit into all of his wardrobe, and and um and it was like funny to show up on set and he's wearing the same outfit that I'm wearing, and I'm like, we're twins.
Wow. Dude, that is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I've seen a couple of the scary movies, but they're so silly, and I don't do pot. I think that's a pot movie,
Right. Yeah.
right? I think, and I just So I haven't seen them all, but now I'm gonna go see number 5 because I got to see this. Yeah, my buddy's in it. I got to see it,
Yeah.
man. That's awesome. What year was that?
That might have been around when I met you, like 2015 or something. It
Wow,
was it was pretty crazy. I
dude.
did I did a stunt where I had to drop like 15 feet into a hot tub, and so they like hung me up on a wire. I'm like hanging parallel like Mission Impossible, and then they drop me down, and I have to pretend I'm fighting a shark in the hot tub. So I'm splashing around and splashing around, and then I have this rubber mask on, and I have rubber finger extensions, so I can't really grab the mask. I have to splash around, come up out of the water, and go like ah, and but my mask is full of water.
Oh
So
no.
and it so I have to like somehow I had to like let it drain, but I'm like drowning. I was very close to drowning, and I had to do it a few different times. This terrifying fall into water, land in the water, can't breathe, have to splash around enough to get the shot, and then come out and wait for my mask to drain or have somebody grab it and pull it off. And then because I'm doing it in room temperature, water at room temperature is not warm. So I got like hypothermia in the
Oh
water.
God. Oh God.
Wow.
Stuntmen are not like, they have all the safety precautions and they're still in it.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
I wouldn't have thought that scary movie because what I've seen, and I don't know which ones I've seen, 1, 3. I don't know what I've seen. Maybe 1, 2, and 3. They're so silly. I wouldn't think they would have stunt budgets. It just seems like it's just thrown together as a goof. I'm surprised that you had a harness. I'm surprised. I'm
Yeah.
surprised they
Aw.
did
Yeah.
anything. Yeah.
I loved the team that was supporting me, the stunt supervisor and everything. They really like held my hand through it all, and it was cool. They have budget, yeah. The budgets of movies these days are dwindling. The big studio stuff is really disappearing, and they're doing smaller, more focused projects, I think. Like something that a small audience on Netflix would really like, you know?
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
Hollywood's turning into.
Well, everything's leaving LA, right? I mean, you're still in LA.
Yeah.
There's no movies being filmed out there anymore, is it?
Yeah, they still have big studio. They still have the studios, and they still have Netflix, and everything is here. Um, there's a lot of tax incentives for different countries. It's just the productions are going to be small and scattered out. However, they need to make it work.
Okay. See, we're out in Virginia. We just hear everything's leaving LA. So, yeah, I thought it was just dry at this point. Yeah, I thought everybody
It's
was going.
definitely changing.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, dude, this has been awesome. 700 performers, featured in 700 performers, was constantly sold out. Boobietrap. When you say you performed, I'm reading your bio here. HBO Comedy Festival, Coachella. What was the Coachella event? Were you juggling? Were you doing comedy? Were you?
I was juggling. So I did like Coachella do you know what Coachella is?
Sure, music
It's
festival.
a big music festival, and that was that's one of those resume things where you like put it on your resume and it looks good. And the actual show was it was like I got free tickets, I got a little bit of money, and then I collected tips because it's all in this big, huge field. And so I was like I was doing circle shows like a street show and gathering a crowd. And then I would do the show and I would collect tips. And I did that a few times a day. And the security came on my second show. They hadn't seen me there. They didn't know that I was supposed to be there. And so I was like confident with shows because of doing so many street shows and doing so much stuff. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. Don't worry about it. And they were like, we don't, you can't do a show here. And I have like juggling knives and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Just if you guys could back up, could you go stand by your golf carts and just call somebody, figure it out? And then I got the crowd and I was like, okay, you guys move in, just kind of crowd around and don't, you can block those security guys out. So I built the crowd. They didn't contact anybody. They couldn't find anybody that could give them a definitive answer. But I built this crowd. I did this whole show and they were like, but it looked like you knew what you were doing. So we just be safe.
Well, and you got into Coachella with juggling knives. I mean,
Right.
you apparently were allowed to be there.
All right.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
That's hilarious.
Dude, this is pretty awesome. He's performed 48 U.S. states, 8 countries, all of this stuff. I don't even know about the stand-up comedy. Now, we need to get you back on and pick your brain some more because this has been awesome. Dude, thank you so
I'd
much
love to,
on here.
if it helps people. Yeah, thank you.
I think so. And I want to send some customers your way because you hear people all the time, you know, I even say it at the beginning of every podcast, you know, we do 400 shows a year. How do you do that? How do you do that? It's hustling. It's working. You don't wait for the phone to ring. But having somebody like you that can help people out too it's a blessing, man. So good job. Keep it up.
Thanks. I think it's really cool. And I think also I want listeners to know that there are certain people that treat themselves like businesses, like you guys. You treat yourself like a business and you like employ people and you work as a team and do that stuff. And then there are other people that want to be just freelancers. They just want to be artists and they want to work, and that's legitimate too. So, so if you want to just do like 3 shows a month and just barely support yourself on that, and like and then do a bunch of charity shows and whatever else with your free time, that's totally legit too. And so sometimes like people like me and people like Wes and we all talk about like the business side of it and how to make the business side work and really hustle and stuff. And then but I want you guys to accept where you are and understand that we're all individuals, and let's just support each other and make this stuff happen. And all of Wes's tips are really valid and really great. And I'd love to work with you guys as an action partner. It would be so fun because I think you'd get really good results from it. But I just love all the individuals that are taking part in this entertainment thing, because I think it's really important for the mental health of the world for us to connect. It's good for the politics of the world for us to connect. It's good for our self-love to connect. And that's something that is really amazing. It breaks entertainment, especially magic. It breaks our idea of reality and opens us up to humanity.
Dude, you're awesome. And your only competition's yourself. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Just do a better show tomorrow than you did today. That's it. That's it.
And I'm not that good, so I can beat my competition.
There you go. There you go. Scott, you're the best, man. Thank you so much for being on here. Only thing we have left to say is see you next week.
Check us out online at wesiseli.com and patreon.com/Wes_Iseli for behind-the-scenes videos, blooper videos, never-before-seen footage, discounts on merchandise, magic trick tutorials, and more. That's Wes Iseli, spelled WESISELI.